Good morning, friends, and welcome to the Emporium of Forgotten Threads. This is Anne, and I'm coming to you from the mountains of northern New Mexico here mid-January 2026. We had a lovely cold, crisp morning here down in the teens, and it's just struggled to about freezing, so I've got my new Jane Austen mug filled with some coffee and thought I would get my podcast recorded. This is going to be a podcast about my crafts and what I've been reading, all kinds of creative things like that. So I hope you'll join me for today's episode. Grab yourself your favorite beverage and a crafting project if you'd like to work along and listen to me talk at the same time. Let's get started. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is books, because I think that'll be a little bit shorter. Last month, if you have been participating with my read along, we read a historical fiction / contemporary fiction. It had sort of historical bits attached to it, by Jennifer Chiavarini, called The Museum of Lost Quilts. We had a short discussion in our Discord group. I will leave the link down below if you'd like to join. There's a thread for both the books of the month as well as crafts of the month. And there's no time limit on it. You're welcome to jump in at any time that sounds good. And of course, if you read the book and would prefer to just let me know what you thought down in the comments, that's great too. So we're going to shift focus a little bit away from the idea of tracking memories and things like that to a more sort of dark and gloomy. Let's call it Halloween in January. So this month's theme is going to be Gothic. That means you can read pretty much any title that has sort of haunting and creepy themes to it. If you're a fan of more classic literature and you'd like to maybe pick up a Edgar Allan Poe book, that would be perfect. Maybe you've recently seen the Frankenstein movie and you'd like to read the original Mary Shelley book, also would be kind of a good match. The books that I'm going to recommend for this month, which we'll be sharing our thoughts on in the Discord group and kind of as our book of the month, I've picked two that are kind of similar. The first of which is Mexican Gothic. If you haven't read that, this is a great opportunity to do that. And obviously it has the word Gothic in the title, so it is a Gothic story. The other book, which might be less familiar to you all, but if you enjoyed Mexican Gothic and would like to still participate in the read along, that I think you would also enjoy, is a book called What Lies Beneath by one of my favorite authors, T. Kingfisher. If you like this book, it's the first of a series, but it can be read as a standalone. And I listened to the audiobook of it this past, actually in December, and really enjoyed that. So if you like audiobooks, would recommend that. The author also has a great kind of tongue-in-cheek sense of humor in many of their other works. So one of my favorite authors, and would recommend picking up really any of their titles. But What Lies Beneath is what we'll be looking to focus on as kind of our book of the month for February. So if you love kind of creepy Gothic horror, what's the quote I have here? Portentously gloomy or horrifying is the definition of, Gothic horror. We'd love to have you join me along in the Discord group just to casually chat about the book. And again, there's no time limit on it. Just pick it up, as you have time, and you can always hop into the thread there and chat a little bit about the book. So I wanted to just do a short synopsis of some other things that I've read in December and what I'm currently reading that are not kind of part of the book club, if you will. I've started retelling of Sherlock Holmes Mysteries series, the first of which is A Study of Scarlet Women. And these are by Sherry Thomas, I think her last name is. I'll leave it down in the description. I was looking to see if I still had it on my bookshelf and realized I've gifted it to a friend. I've read the first and second books in the series. They are fun retellings of how the Sherlock Holmes mysteries actually got solved. They are historical mysteries, so they're set, late 1880s, and they're just fun. If you are a fan of Sherlock Holmes and you've read even some of those Arthur Conan Doyle stories and enjoyed them, you'll probably enjoy these too. There's the overlap of some of the plots, so you'll know how they turn out, but it's done in kind of a unique, creative way that gives it a fresh breath. So those have been fun. I also read a book called Dark Sisters, which I think could also qualify as a Gothic horror book. I didn't love this one as much, so opted not to use it as the book of the month. But if you do like really creepy books, that one would be for you. Just a warning on that one, there are a fair number of triggers in it. It is contemporary. Without going into too much detail, there's like a historical family curse attached to this contemporary sort of Stepford Wives community. And anyway, if you like really creepy, weird books, Dark Sisters is a good choice. I am currently reading this biography of Benjamin Franklin, which I am almost done. I'm tag teaming print and audio for this, so I can listen to it when I have to drive, and then actually read it when I'm, have time to sit and read. This is an excellent biography. It's very approachable. It really does a good job of portraying Franklin as a human. I definitely would have had Franklin over for a dinner party. I thought everything about him, he sounds like he was quite the charmer. Definitely an intellectual, but not in a traditional sense, and a very, very smart and innovative man who really, despite the fact that for a lot of the American Revolution, he was stationed in France as basically our American diplomat, he really was one of the building blocks of how our nation has come to think of itself in terms of its ideology, the words that have created it that are in the Declaration and the Constitution, and just things that you probably say or hear in everyday life, that Franklin kind of was the first to put that idea on paper. So an excellent read. Walter Isaacson's the author of that one. And then I just started this, which is called The Happiness Collector. This is by Crystal King. It's a contemporary fantasy. This young woman gets a job offer to become a historian for a private collector in Rome. And so she decides to take the job. She needs the money. It kind of is too good to be true, and it apparently is too good to be true. I'm not super far into it. I think I'm on like chapter 5, so we'll report back on this one. I think the premise is interesting, but I've heard mixed reviews about it, so I'll let y'all know when I get done it. So that's going to be it for books. Let's move on to some finished crafts. So I have kind of a mixed bag of things to show you that I've finished up so far here at the beginning of the year. First one's quick and easy. One of the things that I have a hard time with is I have been a hand spinner for many years, so I have a lot of hand spun yarn that some of which I've used, half a skein. I cannot bear to give away or throw away because I made the yarn. I know that's ridiculous, but that is just a thing. So what I've decided to do this year is to get together all of the sort of half skeins of things and make large blanket squares out of them that can go to a group that I'm in, that then someone else joins the blanket squares and they donate them to refugees or to various places that are experiencing war overseas. There's a long list. we'll just keep going. Here we go. This is a half skein of a blue-faced Leicester. The colorway is called Country Road from Fat Cat Knits, and I just did a really simple crochet moss stitch, but I love how it came out. I think it is beautiful, and it's like got just the perfect drape and heft and weight to it. So I'm really excited to have a reason to do something with this handspun. And even better that it's going to go to a donation project. The next thing that is a finish is At Long Last. One of the things you might remember from our last episode was I wanted to work on some things that have been languishing for a while. And one of those was my Bloom Your Heart Out shawl, which I have finally finished. The pattern is by Inez Sang, and it is a fingering weight shawl that calls for 3 colors of yarn. I used La Bien Amy's Cashmerino, which I don't think that's the actual name. It's Cashmere, Merino, and Silk. And I used the colors called for in the original pattern. So there it is. I loved working on this pattern. It is absolutely beautiful. I think you can see how much detail there is in it. There's some fan and feather type lace. There's these panels which have like a sheaf of wheat, twisted stitch, and then wrapped stitch, and then bobbles. And then it's got more feather and fan with the stripes. These are all very much my kind of muted colors that I like. The gray, the barely there pink, I wear this color a lot. And then this dusty purple. As you might guess, it is super warm. It is just a delight to wear. So I'm glad that I have finally finished it. And I have had that on several days since it has we've had kind of a cold snap here. Soon to go away because I think the Arctic high is shifting to the east. So anyway, have this done. Really glad to have it completed and sort of have a purpose in life other than being in a Ziploc bag. I don't know if you can hear her, but my cat is crying with sadness that I'm not entertaining her. Anyway, the last finished piece that I wanted to share with the group, if you haven't seen this, I posted a whole video in my shorts, which is where I'm going to try to put bigger finished projects so that you can see the whole thing because it's really hard to show it off. But that is this finished Snowman quilt. And as you can see, hard to show, but I sent this off to a long arm quilter to do some free motion quilting on it. And I love how it came out. I particularly like that snow block. But she did just, swirls and sort of random snowflakes, swirling winds, all of it. So this one is D is for done. It was a challenge to do for me. I had not done some of the techniques in it. The basic piecing, yes. The scalloped applique took me 3 tries to get these corner pieces correct, but I did finally get them done. It was a good learning experience, and I love how it came out. So I'm not sure if it's really suitable for like lay on the couch with a blanket on you throw. The size is perfect, but it's got a lot of embellishment and buttons and stuff on it. So I think I will probably use it as like a decorative type throw during the winter months, kind of across the back of the couch. So happy to have that one done as well. I love how it came out. This was the first time I had used this particular long arm quilter, and I think she did a great job with it. So I'll certainly be sending things to her again in the future. So let's now talk about stuff I'm currently working on. Okay, so things that I have in progress, kind of a mixed bag here. First off, let me share my full coverage cross stitch. This is a long winter's nap. The pattern design is from Heaven and Earth Designs, and the artwork is by Donna Gelsinger. And over the holidays, what I decided to work on was I picked a color that was kind of everywhere, had 2,200 stitches or something like that of it. And I kind of mapped out the circle that you see there. So I know how big the piece is now. This is the farthest side and the top and the very bottom. And then I just started filling in with that color. I still have quite a bit to do here, kind of come down to about here. There's lots of this color in there. And so I'm going to do this like I did the last piece I worked on, where I just do color completion, because my brain apparently likes how that works, where you check off a color and move on. And it's small enough that it's totally workable to do that way. So just going to keep plugging away on this. It'll be out, I think, this whole year. That's going to be what I try to do, and make some good progress on it. So that is where I am on cross stitch right now. Then if you were with me for my last episode in December, you know one of the things I'm working on is my bin 10 project, where I have a bin of yarn that I pulled out of storage, and I'm working on projects using that yarn. Not necessarily just that yarn, but I am going to try to get the bin emptied out this year. And so the first project I'm working on is a shawl called Faded Stripes. It's a free pattern. You can get it on the Hedgehog Fibers website. And I am using a skein of multicolor from Countess Ablaze, who is no longer dying. And this solid, like, blurple, that is from Green Letter Day in the colorway Jester. I can't remember the colorway of this one ever, but it doesn't matter since you can't get it. Anyway, this is a really simple 2-stripe shawl that is kind of heart-shaped and really simple knit. I love the way it's blending those two colors, and honestly, I don't even know that you would know it was 2 stripes if I hadn't told you that, but this is a super travel project, or like sit and watch TV kind of project. So just working away on that. That's where it is right now. Bright and cheerful and colorful, which is very fun. I'm also working on my book club cardigan, which is by Sari Norland. The design is by Sari Norland. I'm using Stash, a Barocco Blackstone tweed, and it's the colorway Steamers, which is a gray tweed. The construction on this is different than anything I've done before, so it's finally kind of starting to look like a sweater, but it's a V-neck cardigan, so I have the back done down to like the armholes, and then you come back and you pick up along the shaped shoulder here to attach the front, and then you'll do the same thing on the opposite side. So I've got this side, that's the right side. I've got the right side finished, and then I just picked up stitches to start working down the left side. Lots of texture on this one. There's cables, there's moss stitch. Yeah, really enjoying this one, and glad to be working through a yarn that's been in my stash for quite a while. Next, one thing I am also trying to do this year is to spin up one braid of fiber every other month from my fiber stash, which I have decreased a lot and I have not been putting new stuff in it, so it is slowly going down and I'm producing hand spun out of it. This was a braid of hand dyed Corriedale from 2F by Hand, also no longer dyeing. I spun this up into kind of a heavy DK light worsted weight 2-ply. Colorway is Nocturne Abbey, and it is this great moody broody rainbow. So my plan is to, because I just have one skein of it, is actually to make a couple of squares like this, see how the colors look, and I'm actually got this on tap for this afternoon, I think, to do a little crochet work. Okay. Next up is the quilt that I'm currently working on. This is the Jane Austen 250th anniversary block of the month. The design is actually free. You can go to Riley Blake Designs website and download this pattern. And here's what it looks like when it's finished. So I have this block finished, and right now the kind of monthly task is to do a set of each of these patterns. And last month, November, I finished those up. This month it is, I believe it's this one. Yeah, this one, which is the Winchester block. And there's 4 of them. The fabrics I'm using are from Riley Blake's Jane Austen collection. So they're all reproduction fabrics that have something to do with artifacts from her life or the decor in that cottage. So there's 4 of these, and they all use different fabrics. These are hand appliqued on the background. And there's the final one. So I'm currently caught up with the of the month part of this. I believe the next set of supplies will come next week, so I was happy to get myself caught up with that. We have this block left to do and this block left to do in the set of these. And then I think the next set of things is to make these pieces, and then we'll be onto the piecing where you're sewing the squares and stuff together. So very, very detailed quilt, but I love it, and I think it's going to be beautiful when it's done. As soon as I saw it, I was like, yeah, that's something I want to do. So just working on that, and hopefully I will have the January blocks ready to show you all next month when I record. Let's go on and talk about plans. Okay, so you saw several of the things that I have in progress: my quilt, the book club cardigan, and the shawl, as well as some blanket squares. Those plus my cross stitch are all kind of things I'll be working on the next month. The other things that I wanted to talk to you all about is, you may remember, if you watched last month's video, we talked about picking a project that might be a memory project, something that was maybe tied to a moment in time you wanted to remember, or some family memory from growing up, something that spoke to you about a memory that you wanted to capture. And my project for the year is going to be embroidering small motifs onto a sweatshirt based on the books that I've read. So I have 2 books that I have finished this year. Those are both in that Sherlock Holmes mystery series. So the first one I'm going to do, I have the little motif picked out, is from A Study in Scarlet Women, because there is poison involved in it. And so I'm going to embroider that on. I have gotten this supply that's this, I can't get this off. Anyway, this has a paper backing on it. And so I've traced the design on it. I'm going to peel the backing off. I'm going to stick it on the sweatshirt this way. Then I can embroider it. And then this has like a very thin fiber that when you wash it, it will dissolve. So we're going to start with that one. I'm still trying to decide what I want to do for the second book in the series, which is A Conspiracy in Belgravia, but we'll decide. And then I'll have, for the Benjamin Franklin book, when I finish that, I'm just going to do his initials because he did sign his letters with a BF, and that's on the cover. So that's what I'll use for that one. I did think about doing his spectacles, but I decided I wanted to maybe do those for something else. So anyway, we'll work on that, and we'll have the first of those to show you next time. It's going to be a year-long project, and I'm not in any rush to like finish it or, you know, get through a ton of these motifs every month kind of thing. Since they're tied to the books I'm reading, it will take a while, and it will take a while for me to decide what I want to use. But anyway, starting point. The next kind of new project is going to be tied to our craft of the month. So because we're working with the theme of Gothic, you certainly could choose a project that was in reference to sort of the Gothic style of architecture, if you would prefer to do that with the arch shapes that are in a lot of medieval buildings or medieval stonework. But you also could choose something that is a project that scares you in some way, maybe something that's outside your comfort zone and you'd like to expand your skill set to try something new that's, you know, that's scary. Or if you choose to read one of the books that I have recommended, either Mexican Gothic or What Lies Beneath, pick something that inspires you from either those books or another Gothic book that you've chosen to read. If you read something, let's say by Poe, there might be like The Raven. That's an easy symbolic thing. If you've got a project that just incorporates a lot of sort of those Gothic themes of gloom and scary stuff, whatever that means to you, please feel free to do that. I know there's some great like Halloween themed samplers out there that probably have like the perfect match. I'm going to do a project. I don't want to tell you what the theme of it is. I know this isn't very helpful. I will put it in our Discord group. So if you're jonesing to do exactly what I'm doing, the information will be there, but I'm not going to share it here. I'll share it next time. But it is a 2-color project based on the theme of What Lies Beneath. And I'm going to use these 2 yarns. These are both DK. This is from Hugh Loco. This is the colorway Spruce on their Merino DK. And this is Lamb Strings yarn. She actually has a lot of very sort of Gothic themed colorways, so go check her out if you like kind of moody, broody colors. This one's light for her. Most have a gray base and are fairly dark and gloomy in a good way. This one's called Harvest Moon, and it's on her Utopia DK base, which is also merino. So colorway project for these 2. If you want to see exactly what I'm working on, it'll be over in the Discord group. But otherwise, I'll share that with you all next time. I think that's it for me this go round. Hope everybody had a good holiday season, whatever you celebrate, and that you've had a good start to 2026 as we kind of ease into the year. It's been super busy around here, so I'm glad to have had a chance to catch up with y'all today. And again, anything that I get finished that's a bigger project, check for that in my shorts here on YouTube. And if you want to come and join the chatter about projects or books over in the Discord group, that link will be below, so you can click on it and join. And otherwise, I will see you in February. Have a great one, y'all. Bye.